Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have, well, you can see it looks like there's quite a bit going on here. I think that's kind of part of the point here. Um, let's take a look at this. And I had to actually look up this word because I had no idea what it meant, but it is called the Meretricious puzzle by HalfBakedLunatic, aka David Workman. And Meretricious apparently means something that looks quite attractive, but actually does not have any real value. So that is the naming for this thing. So let's see how that works out. But let's get into our rule sets for this thing and see what's going on, because there does appear to be quite a lot going on. And when we get into them, I'll describe the colors of some of these for those of you who may have some color blindness. So hopefully that might help at least let you be able to do some of these puzzles that otherwise might be an issue. Anywho, so let's get into the rules. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9, once each. We've got digits along a green line must differ by at least 5. That's our German whisper rule. Now, these ones right here are our green lines. So on these two green lines, whatever this digit is, this one next to it has to at least have a value of different by 5, so on as we move down the line. Oh, sorry. And then we've got purple lines must contain a contiguous set of digits in any order. These are Renban. So these two right here are our purple lines. And like it said, these digits here must form some sort of consecutive set. They don't have to be in a specific order. Then we've got two more rule sets go. So one is the last line rule set. So digits along red lines must read the same forwards or backwards, so it's a palindrome. So those are our remaining red lines. These are all red lines. So looking at these two must be the same because they must be read in the same direction. So whatever this is, this has to be, whatever this is, this has to be, etc., etc., etc. So, and then our final rule set here is digits in cells separated by a black dot must be in a 2-to-1 ratio. And that's the black Kropki dot rule. And it says all dots are shown. We must remember this because I will forget this very easily. So anyway, if we look at any of these dots, these two digits have to be in a 1-to-2 ratio or 2-to-1 ratio, however you prefer to say it. This digit here, therefore, must be either half or double of this one. That's it. So those are our rules. So that being said, let's jump into this one, and hopefully I do not have more issues with my microphone. If I do, we'll deal with that as we come to it. And let's see if we can, first off, remember that there's a negative constraint, and secondly, see if we can figure out this puzzle. So let's get started. Now, excuse me, there's a couple things we could look at, because there's quite a lot going on here, as the title would tell you. I think what I want to do is start looking at sets of 3 black Kropkis, because there's going to be givens for these. Well, not givens, but there's going to be much less possibilities of what these can be than on just a 2-dot black Kropki. So we know that we never can put 5, 7, or 9 on a black Kropki, because if you have or double any of those digits, you do not have a valid Sudoku digit for normal Sudoku rules. And we also know that on these guys, we can't have 3s or 6s either, because the 3s and the 6s must go with each other. The same goes for this one over here. Actually, I just noticed this one. So these guys must all be from the 1, 2, 4, 8 camp. And we know that the middle one can never be 1 or 8. It can't be the extreme digit, because therefore it'd have to have 2 of the same next to it. Now that said, I was hoping that we would have some things on these other lines that we can work with, and we do. Now this can never be a 4, because both of these would have to be a 9, so we can get rid of a 4 here. What else can we do? Can this ever be an 8 is the next question. And the answer is surprisingly yes, it can. Because we can make these a 1 and a 3. Because if this is an 8, this is a 4, 2 here. So we have 1 and 3 left over, and that does work out. Okay, so that's something we can look at. Now on this one, we cannot rule out our 4, because both of these could be 9s. But we can also say that in any of these, we have to have 2s and 4s appear in all of them. And if that's the case, then this black Kropki must be a 3, 6. There's no other option there. Now, we might be able to start figuring out what these guys could be because they are on a Renban line. So therefore, we're going to have some grouping that does work in that capacity. Now we can instantly rule out a 1 being here, because if there's a 1 here, this would have to be 3 and this would have to be 2. But we already said there has to be 2s and 4s on all of these, so we cannot put a 2 here. That's not a 1. Now, what else can we say? If this is a 2, we can't rule out the 2 on this one, actually, because this could be a 2, and this again would be a well, let's look at it even simpler here. What can this be? It can't be a 6, because we can't have a 5. Well, no, it's not true. We can't have a 6. I'm being slow. We can certainly have a 5 here. Let's forget I said that. It's just... this can't actually be 6. So let's go back to what I was trying to do here. We can have a 2 here, because this could be 2, 3, and this could be 1. Because this then would be 2, 4, 8. If this was a 4, this could be a 5. In fact, it would have to be a 5, actually. Because if we'd have to have a 4 here, this would either be a 3 or a 6. The 3 with the 4 would force us to be a 5, because we know there has to be a 2 in one of these other ones. And if we went up to 4 and 6 here, we'd have to have a 5 to gap them. Now, if this is an 8, this is a 7, 6. And those are pretty much the options there. So it looks like these are not quite as restricted as we initially would think so. But actually, I just noticed here, this is a 2, 4 pair, so this can't be a 2. So this is either going to be an 8, 4, 2 or a 1, 2, 4. So this is a 2 or a 4. Now, I wonder if there's anything similar. No, it doesn't appear to have that in these other ones here. Now, I guess we can say this 3, 6 then does look down here, and therefore means that this cannot be a 3, 6 version. So it must be from the 1, 2, 4s and 8s. And kind of what I'm hoping that some of this stuff will end up working towards, because this does as well, 1, 2, 4, 8, because it can't have a 3, 6, is that we'll get a 1, 2, 4, 8 quadruple. And then we would know that these have to be, and we already have a 3, 6, so these must be from 5, 7, and 9. Now, okay, we'll end up getting, so I'll probably need to start looking at these red palindrome lines while we're at this here. Because if this is 1, 2, 4, 8, this has to be 1, 2, 4, 8. And again, we know this can't be a 3, 6 here. Now, if this has to be a 5, 7, 9, this has to be a 5, 7, 9. This is a 5, 7, 9. This is a 5, 7. Not too much on that one. So we probably need to look elsewhere. I was hoping these German whispers would do more for us. But I don't think they are, because the 1 essentially means that this could be anything. Both of these could be anything. The 8, we said, means that these are a 1, 3 pair. And I was thinking, do we have something that can reduce what this can be? I don't think we do. I thought there might be a chance that we couldn't get a 1, 2, 4, 8 onto here, but that does not appear to be the case, because we could do 1, 2, 4, 8, and we have all 4 of them in here, and we'd also have all 4 of them going up in these columns as well. Now, if that does work, what does that mean? I don't think we can rule out the 3, 6 either. Now, if we did find out that there was a 3, 6 here, we'd have 3 6s both looking down here. We would know that this would be a 3, 6. But these are kind of things that are probably going to come into handy a little bit later on, once we get a little bit more information. Now, again, looking down, just trying to find some links here. This one can't be from 2 or 4, but it could be from 1 or 8. which would still allow this to be of that same variety of 1, 2, 4, 8. Now, I guess what we can and try to remember, because I've already forgotten, is that all dots are given. Can we use that information here? We can, I think. Because no matter what this 2, 4 is, whether it's a 2 or a 4, it means that this cannot be a 2 or a 4. Because if this is a 2, that forces out a 4, there should be a black dot between them. So they cannot be as such. So we get a 1, 8 pair going on here. Now, if this is a 1, 8 pair, this is a 2 or a 4. I think this is probably where we're going to get these negative constraints that are going to come into place here. But let's think about them. Let's say if this could be a 1, 2, 4, 8. This couldn't be a 1 or an 8, so it would have to be a 2 or a 4, which means this would have to be a 1 or an 8. And wherever the 8 was, it would always have to go with, this is not my final marking, I'm just going through a set here, just to try to picture what's going on. If this is an 8, this would have to be the 2. This would be the 4, and this would go to the 1. That would still work, okay. I was hoping there would be a negative there that we could put together. But I don't quite see it. So is there any other negative constraints, maybe, that we could look at? I honestly do not see any just yet. Okay, oh wait, look at this one now. Now that we've determined this is a 2 or a 4, that means this is a low digit on our German whisper. So therefore, all of these must be low digits, which means this is a low digit. So that gives us our in here. And we can start to do some work, a little bit more work, I should say. So now we know that this is 2, this cannot be a 1, so we have to put the 8 in there, therefore this has to be a 4. We know this is a low digit, so we can put 1, 2, 3, or 4 in it. And we can't rule out anything just yet. Well, I guess we can. This has to have a 2 and a 4 in it, so this can't be 2 or 4. And if that's the case, what else can, this 4 sees this, it can't be 5. The 8 sees this. Wait, that would break this puzzle. No, sorry, I'm being stupid. I thought about white Kropki dots. I'm not talking about white Kropkis. We don't need white Kropkis. We're only thinking about black Kropkis. And with that said, I'm going to go back for a second to make sure I didn't screw something up. Because I did, didn't I? Black Kropkis, no white Kropkis. Bad lemur. Okay. But that still does create what I had started here, as this is a low digit, so therefore this must be a low digit. So we can keep this, but we can't make those, what other thing I just said, which was, yeah, when I think of Kropki dots, I always think of them as a pair of Kropkis. So sometimes it'll mess with my head, but we can still do this, because this would be in a 1 to 2 ratio. This is 8. So the only thing I did mess up was I cannot say that this can't be a 5, 7, 9. So, okay. Good thing I went back and looked just to confirm that, because there is no interaction between any of these in terms of a black. Good. No, this can't be a 1. Alrighty. Now, is there anything else then that we can take a look at here? Well, let's go back and start doing what we were previously doing. This has to be from 1, 2, 3, or 4. We know it can't be 2 or 4, so let's put those in. And we know these have to be high digits. They have to be from, well, this one just has to be a 9 because it's next to a 4. We can put that in. This one could be almost anything, except for a 9, obviously, because the 9 is already there in the region. Okay. All right, now do we have 4, 8 looking here? So let's get rid of 4 and the 8s. Let's get rid of 4 and 8. This is a 1, 2, so this can never be an 8. This is either a 1, 2, 4 or a 2, 4, 8. This can never be a 2. So now we know this is a low digit, so these must all be low digits. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This can't be 2 or 4. This can't be 4. These have to be high digits, so 6, 7, 8, and 9. This can't be 8. This can't be 9. Now we do have to try to remember to look at our negative constraints as well in the Kropkis, but not screwing it up this time. So this can't ever be a 3. That's what I just noticed by our negative constraint. Because if this is a 3, that forces this to be a 6, which there would be a black Kropki between them. So this has to be 1, which means this is not 1. So there is a 4 in this guy somewhere. That 1 does very little to work out what this guy could be because it leaves every option still open. And what else do we have doing here? We know this has to be a low digit. Oh, we can look across here. We've got 1, 2, 4, and 8 staring at this cell in the black Kropki, so we know this has to be a 3, 6 pair. So this is not 6, this is not 3. Because again, we can't put 1, 2, 4, 8 in, we can't do anything other than 3, 6 pair. So we do end up with our 3, 6 pairs looking down into here, which means one of these, well, 2 of these 3 must have a 3, 6, which means one of these 2 must, and therefore both of these must. Okay, there we go. We're getting somewhere. Now, I don't see any other negative constraints at the moment. Because this 3, 6 doesn't interact with anything. The 4, 8s, we've already taken care of any interactions over here. We still have our 5, 7s, and 9s here, but we haven't really gotten into our palindromes too much, and we haven't thought more about what this Renban could be, so maybe that's where we need to look. Because no, we know that there can't be a 2 on this palindrome, so it's either 3, 4, 5, or it's 4, 5, 6. None of those at the moment are being reduced in possibility. I guess we always know there's a 5 on here. It's either 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6, so there is a 5. That's something, I guess, to keep an eye on. And what else do we have? Have we reduced these guys to anything important? We could still have the 6, 7, 8. We can still have a 3, 4 with a 5. Or a 4, 6 with a 5. I guess that we do know, no, we don't know that. It's going to say something, again, not correct. Luckily, I can stop myself from time to time. What can these digits be? Because maybe there's some correlations, but probably not, because I think these guys are already kind of seeing all of the same information. Let's take a gander just in case. So we know this can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. Can be a 5, can't be 6, could be 7 or 9. So if we go back into our 5, 7, 9s as to what's being left over, we know this has to be either 3 or 6. So that does actually give us a 3, 6 pair, because these have to be palindromes, as you recall. Therefore, we have a 3, 6 pair, which means this can't be a 6. Again, that didn't do us a ton of good. And was there anything else we could have done then maybe on these black Kropkis that might be of particular use for us? Okay, we know this can't be 3, 6. Because again, it would see this one. So again, we're looking at the 1, 2, 4, 8 possibility. This can't be a 1. hoping that we're going to start paring these things down enough. Now, we can't quite rule out this one as being from the 1, 2, 4, 8s yet, because we have 1, 2, and 4, but we do not have an 8 shown. So this could very well be an 8, and this could hit the 4, and this would end up being a 1, 2 pair. And that all seems like it would work. All right, so what's the next little step here? I guess we should mark some of this stuff, just so we're not missing out on anything that could be quite obvious if it is marked down. I don't know that Sudoku is going to come into play just yet, although we do have... Well, we know there's a 2 and a 4 on here, right? So the 4s can't be in any of these or here. So one of these must be a 4. That's because we know there's a 4 here. We know one of these is a 4, and we know there's a 4 right there. If this is a 4, does that do anything for us? It just means that this is either a 2 or an 8, which is perfectly fine. Okay. Now, maybe there was something in here again that I didn't quite see on this row. There has to be a 1, but it could be here or here. The 2 could be here or here. There's no issues with 3s, or obviously the 4s are right there. So again, I don't quite see anything there. 9s have a couple of spots as well. Okay. That isn't doing very well. We actually do have a 5, 7, 9 triple here now that I just noticed it. So that means this has to be a 1 or a 2. We get a 1, 2 pair. But it doesn't seem to see enough. Okay. I mean, I guess this guy here could be somewhat reduced as to what it could be. We know it can't be 1 or 2. We know it can't be 3. We know it can't be 4. It could very well be 5. It can't be 6. So it's like it's a 5, 7, 8, 9 possibility here. The 8 is still in play because I can't say if there's an 8 here or not. It could this could be 8, 4, 2. Or like I said, it's 4, 2, 1. Okay, so there's something in here I'm just not quite seeing. We'll get to it eventually, I'm sure. I just got to find it. What are the other clues we haven't used? Maybe we just need to focus on those. And we are looking. This digit, again, doesn't seem like it has too much reduction in what it can be. And we know the obvious, it can't be 1, 2, 4, or 9. But I would really like to be able to put this guy to bed. Let's just put all our options in and then just run through them. This can't be 1, 2, or 4. This can't be 1. This can't be 2. This can't be 8. So it's either 4, 8, or it's a 3, 6. Again, 4, 8 is perfectly fine because these could end up being a 1, 2, and then a 3, 6 just leaves this to be whatever it wants to be. Alrighty. Where, oh where are you, sir? We know one of these has to be a 1. Again, I don't particularly care about that at the moment. It's not quite giving me anything yet, but... So the only one I haven't really used are figuring out some of these lines. Well, I guess we can go further in these guys because we have reduced some options. So this can't be a 1. Sorry, hit the wrong button. This can't be a 1. And this can't be an 8. Therefore, it's either a 2, 4 pair or it's a 4, 8. That hasn't affected anything there. That was the only thing that really did much, wasn't it? Okay. Thought that might give us something. It doesn't seem to do so. And again, this this being a 4-8 would not do anything overtly negative here. I'm going to do a little bit more marking just to, again, get the visual. And I guess there's so much that this could be. So maybe we need to try to figure out if there's more negative constraints flying out there that are going to affect our situations. And probably the best places to do would be ones that are well numbered to begin with. Let's see if there's anything out here. Well, I mean, technically you can say that in here, the 3 and the 6 cannot be adjacent to each other. But then again, what does that really prove? The 8 can't be next to the 4, but it could still be in any of these 3 locations. So that doesn't seem all that wonderful to deal with. And here, this interaction here isn't quite enough either. Because if we knew this was a 2, we could rule out a 4 being here. But that's the only instance. If this is a 1, anything goes. Where else? Where else? Okay, this can't be a 1. I think that's what we're going at. Okay, so this cannot be 1. If it was 1, we'd have a 1-2 pair here, which are in a 2-to-1 ratio, and it doesn't have a black dot. So maybe that's a good thing to do, because that's going to start moving some things around, at least. That 2 is now going to point at our 8 and our 2. Did that do anything? One of these must be... Okay, now we've got 8s up here, so we can continue our thought process that this here cannot be an 8, so therefore this is 8. And what else? We know one of these has to be a 7. Thinking about our row. Again, this... We're very close in terms of what I was talking about for our 3 6s, where you can't put a 3 6 in a pair together. But we could always do that, or we can put one down here and one in any of these other places. So let's try to dig a little deeper into negatives and see if there's anything else out there that's giving us some irritation. Don't quite see anything. Well, this can't be an 8, at least we can say that. There's multiple opportunities for 8s elsewhere. What about going up here? Now, we can say the same thing that I was kind of thinking about over here for 3s and 6s. We know that one of these is a 3 or a 6. The other one's a 5. We know we can't have this be 3 6 or this be 3 6. But if this was a 3 6, this one over here could be the 3 6. And if this was a 3 6 over here, this one could be a 3 6. So it's something to keep an eye on, but it's not giving us that next little step. Okay, come on now. We must be at a location where we can start maybe determining some of these other digits better. What about you? Can't be 1 or 2. Could be 3, can't be 4. 5 is still in the loop. 6 is still in the loop. 7 and 9. Nope. That one was just about worthless too. Okay. If this is an 8, does that do anything for us? This becomes a 2-4, but it just means that the 2 has to go here. So that would not cause any serious damage. Man, I am not quite seeing the next step. Could it be? I guess we do know that this can't be a 3-6 pair. Because if it was, these would be connected together. So can we do anything on there? Don't know. Keep saying to myself. We don't know anything about it. We can't say anything about this one, whether or not it must have a certain digit on it. And not in a way that we can then look back over here and make a determination. Huh. 3 6s are looking down. We got a 2-4 and a 3-6. Is there maybe something in this that's going to be of good use to us? Because we have to have a 1. We have to have a 5. And 7, 8, and 9. Let's just think about it. This can't be 9 or 8. This can't be 1. Is there anything else that it can't be? This can't be 1. So we end up with a 5, 7 in this, it is reduced down quite a bit. I would like for it to go further. I guess, okay, there we go. That's something at least. We know there's a 1 in one of these now. If that's the case, this can't be a 1. So therefore, this is 2 and this is 4. And that forces this to be 1, 2, 4. There we go. We're getting somewhere now. This has to be 3. Hopefully this continues to go somewhere. 1, 5, 7, 8, 9. So that 4 removes the possibility of this being a 7. So this is 5. That removes these guys from being 5s. This is just a 7, 8, 9 triple in the rest of this. And did any of this? Yes, it did over here. So this ends up being a 3, 6. And again, that doesn't quite get us into here. We can't rule too much out over here for 3s and 6s just yet either. Again, we might have to start looking back at, yeah, this can't be 8. That's something. I was hoping we would start getting a double here that would then continue to let us move. Now, we do know we have a 3, 6 pair here. And we have a 5, and we know there's a 4 over here. So we can remove the 5s from here now. So that's something. One of these must be an 8, which removes this from being an 8. And does it do anything else? It's only a 2 or a 4. 3, 5, 6s, 3, 5, 6, and 7s aren't quite anything yet either. Oh, it feels like there's just something that I should be able to see here, and you guys probably have already seen it a few minutes ago, and I'm trying to pull myself together here to see what it might be where we can have that negative constraint causing even more mayhem. This can't be an 8. That's one little bit. See, the 5 doesn't interact with anything on Black Kropki's, either to 7s or 9s, so it kind of doesn't help too much that we have 7s, 8s, and 9s left over. All right. Let's just put these in and see if we find anything at all. So we know we have to have 3, 5, 6, and 7. These can't be 3s. Sadly, there just isn't. We know these had to be 7s. These are not 7s. The 1 can't interact with anything. The 4 doesn't interact with anything. And neither does the 8. So, okay. This one's being a tricksy little bugger. Okay, this 4 here. Let's go back to this now. It's again, there's just so much on the screen now. It's having to get myself to remember to look at clues here. So it has to be a palindrome, so therefore that can't be a 4. This can't be a 4. So this can't be an 8 anymore. Okay, now this can't be, well, what can it be? Is there anything it can't be? It can't be a 2, because that would force this to be a 4-1 pair. And it seems to be the bulk of what will do for us. Okay. Just looking at 8s for a second here as well to see if we had anything that we could really figure with those. Not quite seeing anything there. Again, these ones on these things are just not helping at all because it allows everything to still be in these. I thought these German whispers might actually end up doing a bit more, but they're not currently because of the state of the ones. Do. Keep wanting to go back to 8s. Yes, well, again, because of our palindrome line, this has to be from 1, 7, 8, or 9. Okay, what about this? Okay, this row. Something I wouldn't have seen until I guess I put that in there. Where's the 2 go? Well, it can't go in any of these, so it must go here. That forces this to be a 4 and that to be a 2. This can't be a 4 anymore. So this is either a 1, 2, or an 8, 4. And then... Oof. 1s. What are 1s? One of these has to be a 1. One of these has to be a 1. They're offsetting, so we're not getting an X-wing there. Is there anything else? We already know we have a 3-6 pair here. The 8s could be in a couple of places. This one only rules it out here. This column, there's too much going on at the moment. It really might be just kind of putting in digits and seeing what can and can't go at this point, because I'm kind of struggling to see what that is. We know this can't, well, I guess we'll look at this one real quick. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot out of it, but we can give it a go. It can't be 1, 2, or 4. Can't be 3. Could be a 5. Can't be 6. 7 or 8 are our options for this guy. That did nothing. Well, I guess it can't be an 8. So it's either a 5 or a 7. And we still have multiple locations of 8s that we can't sort out just yet. I guess one of these has to be an 8. And that's the case. This one can't be. So this is 8. Okay, so the 8s did actually come into play. It just took me a while to see them. I had to get through a bunch of rigmarole to do so. So that 8, because that 8 couldn't go in any of these, couldn't go there and couldn't be. what my computer is freaking out on me. I don't know if you can see it, but my mouse is stuttering like crazy. I wonder if the video is doing that as well at these times, but this one couldn't be an 8, so that's an 8. So therefore this is a 7. That's a 9. These are not. This is not 7. That 7 can rule out these guys from being 7s. And this can't be a 1, so we can put a 1 here since we find that out to be a 2. And what else? These are just from 5, 7, and 9 again. I guess that does give us something here, though. So I will put that in. Because we get a 5, 7, 9 triple, which looks at this. So this has to be 1. And we can remove 1 from both of these. And that'll give us a 1 here as well. Now we know that the 1 has to go here. So that did help out quite a bit. This has to be 2. This has to be 4. That was the only other place a 4 could go. All right. That's getting us again somewhere. This is from 5, 7, and 8. Oh, this can't be 9 anymore, so let's get rid of those. Okay. Come on. Touch me, babe. Enough of the musical interlude. Oh, the 7, there we go. This color kind of caught me by hiding that color there a little bit too, but this can be 5. Therefore, these are not 5s, which means this is 5. Sorry, this is 5 because of the 7, 9 pair. It's not, which means this is not. And this has to be 3 or 6 because of our column, and there's a 3 here. So let's put our 6, 3, 6 in. Does that give us anything else? Doesn't appear to, which is interesting. Okay, what do we have left here that maybe we can do something with? We know we have 5 and 9, and there's one other digit, 8. This can't be 8, so this is 8. We have a 5, 7, 9 triple left over here. If this thing will work, which means this has to be an 8. And we're left with a 3, 6 here. So we have 5, 9, 7, 8. This has to be 3, 6 as well. And of course, those can't be determined just yet, at least not by negative constraints. So, scanning about. This has to be from 7, 8. Hey, how's it going? Another voiceover because another microphone failure. So I'm just saying that has to be a 7, 8 pair there. So this one here is 5. That's going to cause both of those to be 5, actually. And that will remove 5 from that option. And that one. And we'll see a 7, 9 there. So that gets rid of the 7s and the 9s there. And we'll see that these have to be from 7 and 9. But I had the microphone there, so I'm going to turn it back over to myself. I've been keeping my eye on this thing because I knew it was going to mess up on me. So hopefully I caught that one right when it occurred. We've got that 7, 9 pair, which meant these couldn't be, which means these could be was all I had said. If that did get cut out for some reason. We've got 3, 5, 6, and 4 that have to go in this column somewhere. This can't be 4. So this is the only place a 4 can go, which means this here is from 3, 5, or 6, but there's a 3 and a 6. So this is 5. Let's get rid of 5s. And we have a 3, 6 pair now here, so this just is our 5. Again, that doesn't quite answer this because this could still be 3 or 6. That 5 removes it from here at least. This can't be a 6 either, so it just is the 3. So therefore now we can go back to the 6 and 3. And that's not a 3. Okay, we've got to be pretty much done with this thing. That 8 forces this to be an 8, forces this to be 7 and 9. Therefore, this has to be 9. This has to be 7. 9, 7. This 8 here says this is a 7, so this is an 8. That 7 says this is a 9, and this is a 7. This 5 says this is a 6, so therefore this is 3 and 6. That 6 there is going to remove these from being 6s. And yeah, we have to just be in Sudoku mode, right? All of our 1s are done. 2s, there's 1 left, it goes here. How about our 3s? There's still a couple of them outstanding, it seems. 4s are done. 5s are almost done. There's an X-wing left over. 6s. Still work to do. 7s. We can get a 7 in here. Yes, we can, because we have 7s looking here, so none of these can be. So this is 7. And let's do our 8s and 9s real quick. One of these is 8. Oh, no. Sorry. Is 8. That should be all the 8s, and then let's look at our 9s. And we'll go from there to see if we can finish anything off. This is a 3 or a 6. This is a 3 or a 6. Because of this row, we already have 7, 9 pairs, and we had this other 3, 6. The other one had to be a 3 or a 6. Now this region must have a 9 in it, so it must go there. And that, of course, did not quite finish that off, but we do have this 5 here, so I think that's going to do it. 5, 9, 7, 9. Yeah, this is 5 and 7. There's going to be another one here. We can say this is 6 and 3, and this should really finish it off. 3 and 6, and 3 and 6, and 6 and 3. There we go. The puzzle is solvable without remembering the negative constraint on the black dots, but much easier to solve if you did remember. Well, I remembered. It still took me 47 minutes to do so, but I did remember. So I guess you can do it without the negative constraint. Good to know. I'm sure some of you out there will probably have done it without that negative constraint. I didn't realize that that was an option. So there we go. Anyway, great puzzle. Tons of good information here. There was a little bit of a struggle to try to figure out a couple of places to look at next to get the next moving, but that's, again, always on me. That's scanning capabilities that I'm slowly building up on. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that one. I hope that mic cut out wasn't too much of a pain in the butt. I'll go back and look at it again just to make sure it doesn't need a voiceover, but hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.